like to call this public hearing / regular school board meeting of the San Felipe Del Rio CISD Board of Trustees, today being Monday, June 16th, 2025. Mr. Secretary, would you call roll?
Yes, sir. Mrs. Luna Chavez.
Present.
Mr. Almaraz.
Present.
Mr. Overfeld.
Here.
Mr. Mesa.
Here.
Mrs. Guanajuato Webb.
Present.
Ms. Haynes.
Here.
Sir, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Let the record show that we do have a quorum of board members and that this meeting has been duly called in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. This time we will have opening ceremonies, first with a moment of silence for personal reflection, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Again, welcome. We have some people that are here from out of town, and we welcome you to this meeting today. First item we have is, we don't have any public citizens that signed up, so we will have a public hearing. Item 6A, optional flexible school day program. Laura Zandate.
Good evening, Dr. Rios, President Mesa, and members of the board. Tonight's presentation is the annual review of the district's optional flexible school day program, or OFSDP, for Blended Academy. The program allows districts to provide flexible hours and days of attendance for students who meet certain guidelines. And that would be for students who are in danger of dropping out of school, may have already dropped out of school, and those students who are failing their classes, therefore puts them in danger of not meeting their expected graduation date. So tonight we're going to review some categories related specifically to Blended Academy. We're going to be taking a look at their attendance, credits that students earned, pathways to graduation, or what we call their EOC results, and then the graduation rate. So the first slide that we're looking at, this is the attendance. So each student that participates in the optional flexible school day program, their attendance is based on minutes. TA requires these students to be in attendance each day for 45 minutes to claim any minutes for that day. We recommend the students be there for 90 minutes or the whole day if they can. So you see the total eligible minutes at the bottom, 300,018, and then we divide that by the 240 minutes, which is considered a full day, which is 4 hours. So we divide that by 240, and the students that participated in the program at Blended Academy, they generated 1,325 minutes. Next, we're looking at the credits that these students earned. So for this school year, 24-25, the students that participated in the program at Blended Academy, they retrieved 797 credits. So those are semester courses that they received credit for, leading towards graduation. Then you'll see the end of course results for Blended Academy. This is spread out by this year, and then it takes into consideration the previous 2 years. So for English 1, we're at 36% for this year. So the students that took English 1, 36% of those students passed the end of course. English 2, it was 28%. Algebra 1, 17%. Biology, 67%. And U.S. History, at 93%. And you'll see the comparison of the previous 2 years. Then when we look at the graduation rate, there were 95 students that had an entry date at Blended Academy this year. That means that they attended at least one day, and we're only talking about the upperclassmen, not the 8th graders, because those are the only students that can participate in OFSDP. So out of those 95 students that had an enrollment record for this year, 84 of them graduated on May 30th. Then we're looking for those others who did not make their graduation date. Hopefully they're enrolled at Del Rio High School, and they can earn their credits in the next couple of weeks and participate in the graduation in July. When we look at monitoring the program at the Blended Academy, the principal, the counselors, everyone is involved, checking attendance, checking credits, and creating individualized progress plans for the students. Those are reviewed sometimes weekly or multiple times during the 6 weeks, so we can make sure students are on track to meet their credits for graduation and that they're actually attending school. So the counselor works directly with the parental aide, pulling attendance in the morning, contacting students if they're not already on campus, and then also keeping up with their grades and the credits that they've earned throughout the year. So what we need to do is look at the progress of the Blended Academy students participating in OFSDP, and that would make us want to renew the application for the 25-26 school year. Does anybody have any questions?
I'll turn it over to board members. Mr. Orfeld.
Back at the beginning of the right there. No, I'm sorry. There. One of the comments you made there was for those who hadn't graduated there. You said hopefully they're enrolled at Del Rio High School for the summer. There's a way to know if we can check to see if they're enrolled, right? That way they can graduate?
Yes.
In the summer? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Excellent. Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Galindo?
Just looking at the numbers, is there a significant change because there's a change in enrollment? Can that attribute it or as well? Because
Yes.
some of these have large drops, right? And we do know that they are doing a good job at Blended Academy, but when you look at these numbers, I would like to think enrollment has to be a contributing factor to it.
Yes. So when we're looking at the graduation or the amount of graduates from previous years, the 129 from 22-23 is because there was a larger group of students that were enrolled at Blended. And then last year we had a decrease in enrollment, which leads to a decrease in the amount of graduates. So it's all proportional.
Anyone else? Yes, Mr. Webb.
Yes, like Mr. Galindo mentioned, I've visited Blended several times, and they're doing an excellent job. But I guess my concern is why the drop, or maybe why do we not have or see an increase like in English 2 and Algebra 1 as we do for U.S. history?
Okay, typically students perform better on the U.S. history exam,
Yeah.
and you'll see it when you get the results from the spring. The English 2 and the English 1, those are going to be students that have tried to complete that since their sophomore year. So they're retesting multiple times during the year. They do participate in tutorials, but they can still graduate. They would graduate with an IGC. But the point is to get them to pass their exams, so we don't have to use the IGC, but they are participating in tutorials with their teachers.
Dr. Rios.
Ms. Webb, the number of students that take each exam, I think would help us understand it. For example, the kids that are taking Algebra 1 and the kids that are taking English 2 may very well be two different cohorts of students. I don't want to put Ms. Zuniga on the spot, but she would have some insight into that. If you'd like, we can ask her to come to the podium.
No, that's fine. I was just wondering, like Ms. Andate mentioned, they are receiving tutorials. So I guess my next question would be, if the tutorials are not working for them, what else can we be looking at to assist them better so that they can have better success?
Yes, ma'am.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah, we'll make sure that Mr. Barrera and Ms. Villarreal get with Ms. Zuniga and make sure that all that is in place. Ms. Andate wouldn't have that knowledge because she's just clearly reporting on the PEMS data.
Correct.
Yeah.
But thank you, ma'am.
I just want to make sure, we have two other opportunities, right, for these students that did not walk as
Yes,
far
sir.
as getting their diploma?
Yes, sir. They're mainly missing credits, and I'm sure that the majority of them are at summer school. Ms. Zuniga's giving me the yes. So as long as they're done by August, they can participate in the August graduation.
Okay. So that average will improve as far as
Yes, sir.
number of graduates?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. No further questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Go on to public comments from anyone? Anyone that wants to comment on this hearing? Hearing none, then we'll adjourn the public hearing and go on to a regular meeting. And we're on to item 8, reports. First item is projected 2025-2026 budget update. Amy Childers.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. This evening, I will be providing you with an update on our projected 2025-26 budget. And again, in front of you or before you, I have our interactive workbook, and you should have copies on your credenza also. So the first item we are going to look at is the general pay increase. Since the prior meeting we had, we were able to reach out to TASB during the first meeting budget update we provided. That was just the district's calculations on the general pay increase. Since then, TASB has provided us with the models that you see here today. The first one we're looking at would be a 2% increase. It would be, our current starting salary, teacher salary is $54,950. With the recommendation from TASB, it would be to raise the beginning teacher salary to $55,450. For the teachers in the 0 to 2 years, for teachers with 1 year experience, they're recommending an increase of $886. Those with 2 years, they're recommending an increase of $1,286, which equates approximately to a 2% increase to our current midpoint scale for teachers. With state funding, they are, for teachers 3 to 4 years, would receive a $2,500 raise, which equates to a 4% to our teacher midpoint. And those with 5 or more years of experience would receive a $5,000 increase, which equates to an 8% to our teacher midpoint. Those on the teacher pay plan but are not identified as teachers according to TEA would receive the same amounts. Those for 0 to 2 years, those with 1 year experience would receive an $886 increase. Those at 2 years would receive a $1,286 increase. Those at 3 to 4 years would receive a $2,500 raise. And those with 5 or more years would receive a $5,000 increase. For administrative professionals, those again with 0 to 2 years experience would receive a 2% general pay increase to their midpoint pay grade scale. Those with 3 to 4 years would receive a 4% to their midpoint range. And those 5 or more years would receive an 8% to their midpoint pay range. And then TASB also recommended some adjustments due to teacher pay equity, and those that were below the minimum of their pay range. For paraprofessionals, also a 2% increase for those at 0 to 2 years, a 4% for those with 3 to 4 years, and a 8% with those for 5+ years. Again, a couple adjustments due to those that were below the minimum of their pay range or due to placement scales. And then for our auxiliary employees, the same thing. A 2% pay increase for those with 0 to 2 years, a 4% for those 3 to 4 years, and an 8% for those with 5+ years. And again, a couple adjustments due to minimum pay range or placement scales. That would equate to a total increase to the district of $5,139,460. For the 3% increase, the second model, the starting teacher salary they are recommending would go to $55,900. For those on the teacher scale, again, for those with 1 to 2 years experience would receive a 3% general pay raise, which equates to, for those with 1 year experience would receive a $1,429 increase. Those with 2 years, a $1,929 increase. And then those with 3 to 4 years would receive a $2,500 increase. And those with 5+ years would receive a $5,000 increase. Moving on to those who are, again, on the teacher pay scale but not identified as teachers, it would be the same. 3% for 1 year would be a $1,429 increase. 2 years would be a $1,929 increase. Those with 3 to 4 years would receive a $2,500 increase. And those with 5+ years would receive a $5,000 increase. When we go to our administrative professionals, same allocation. Those with 0 to 2 years experience would receive a 3% increase. Those with 3 to 4 years, a 4%. 5+ years would receive an 8% general pay increase to their midpoint pay ranges. Again, with a couple adjustments due to those below their minimum and teacher pay equity and strategic adjustments. Paraprofessionals, 3% for those at 0 to 2 years, a 4% for those at 3 to 4 years, and an 8% general pay increase for those with 5+ years, again, along with adjustments needed to meet the ranges. And for auxiliary, 0 to 2 years, a 3%, 3 to 4 years, a 4%, and those with 5 or plus years, 8%, again, with necessary adjustments due to the ranges. That would be a total cost to the district of $5,180,945. And the third model we have would be a starting salary for teachers with 0 years experience of $56,450. Those with 0 to 2 years experience, 1 year would receive $2,000. Those with 2 years would receive $2,500. Those with 3 to 4 years, again, equates to a 4% general pay increase to our teacher midpoint, so it would be $2,500 increase. And those with 5+ years would receive $5,000 increase. Again, those on the teacher pay scale but not identified as teachers would receive the same 0 to 2 years. Those with 1 year would receive a $2,000 increase. 2 years, a $2,500 increase. 3 to 4 years would be a $2,500 increase. And 5+ years would be a $5,000 increase. For our administrative professionals, again, 0 to 2 years would be a 4% pay increase to their midpoint. 3 to 4 years would receive a 4% to their midpoint. 5+ years would receive an 8% general pay increase to their pay range midpoint, along with some adjustments that would be necessary to meet their pay range minimums. Paraprofessionals, again, 0 to 2 years, a 4% increase. 3 to 4 years, a 4% increase. 5+ years, an 8% increase to their midpoint of their pay range, again with some adjustments. And their auxiliary, those with 0 to 2 years would receive a 4% increase. 3 to 4 years, a 4% increase. And 5+ years, an 8% increase to their pay range midpoint, again with some adjustments, for a total cost to the district of $5,207,848. A couple of things I'd like to mention in talking to TASB. I know they are recommending increasing our starting teacher pay, but if we keep it the same, which is the $54,950, it will not have any effect to our cost. That's just something we can do. It would just be up our teacher scale. For the purposes of this presentation, just based on feedback that I've received, that we have received, we are using the 3% model for this budget. So the $5,180,945 is what was selected for the purposes of this presentation.
Questions? Dr. Rios, have a question?
It's not a question, but this pay scale, after Ms. Childers worked with TASB, has a couple of changes, and she's mentioned one of them already. The last time we met, we were not providing a raise for the starting salary. TASB has recommended that just to keep in line with other districts and stay competitive. The other change, Ms. Childers, if we could just emphasize the difference for the 0 to 2 years, because that is different from what we recommended. So let's just point that out for each one of the sections.
Yes, so TASB, so originally we had the 0 to 2 years. For instance, on the first model, the 2%, we had that everybody would be receiving the $1,286 for those with 1 and 2 years experience. In this model, TASB is recommending for the 1 years to receive the $886, and those with 2 years experience to receive the $1,286, again, just to differentiate between the steps. Same thing for the 3%. They're recommending the in our last calculations, we had recommended the $1,929 for anybody in 0 to 2 years. They are recommending for those with 1 year experience, the $1,429 increase, and with those with 2 years, the $1,929 increase. And then same thing for the third model, those with 1 year experience, or $2,000, and those with 2 years, the $2,500, where in my original calculations, we were doing everybody at the $2,500 with 1 and 2 years experience.
I'll turn it over to board members for questions. Ms. Orfeld.
On the interactive notebook that we have, I'm guessing obviously that's now not valid anymore, because this particular one here goes in, the handout goes in and changes a lot of stuff up, and I'm getting confused with the math, and this is why I teach history and government and I don't teach mathematics. But come on, that was funny. Okay. So as an example, in the interactive notebook, where I guess it was based off the 54,950, right? Is what starting pay was?
Yes.
Okay. That was 2.041 million, and this one here, starting salary of 55,450, puts an increase at 2.26 million. But when we get down all the way to the bottom on the handout that you gave out, the 5.1 million, the 5.139 million versus the interactive workbook of 5.19 million, it somehow comes out to be $50,000 less than what was on the notebook or the workbook. The 3% comes out to $119,000 less, but we're increasing the starting salary, and then you go all the way over to 4%, it's $198,000 less than what the interactive notebook is. So someone needs to explain it to me in very simple terms there, because I'm not grasping how we can spend less, or we end up with less, but we're going to give more. There, that's the part I don't understand there. So that's just what I need some explaining on. So like this one here, 2.23 million, but the 54,950 was 2.04. So obviously there's an increase there. But then when you look at all the others, yellow highlighted ones, they're all decreases from what's on the interactive. So yeah, I just needed it explained to me in simple terms, because I don't understand it.
So
Well, Well, so I'll say something, then Ms. Childress can finish it. With every week and every day that goes by, HR and finance is able to scrub more of the data and get the more appropriate numbers of the number of personnel. And then TASB is also doing the calculations, whereas before we were getting as close to an estimate as possible. So this represents more clear picture of the actual personnel that we have. I don't know that between now and next week it'll get any closer, but I think you guys are pretty close now, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and if you recall last week, or the last time we visited with, I said that if the board chose some different models to pay, that, we would look for savings, but we still had some personnel to go through. So this just represents smaller numbers of personnel, which gives us a smaller budget. So it's not that it got cheaper, it's just that there's less teachers, less employees put into the calculations.
It's more refined.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is it possible to get this as an interactive to replace what
Yes.
we have? That way we can play with
Yes,
the
I
numbers,
have-
but
yes.
input the different scenarios? Okay. That's just what was throwing me, so thank you for clearing that up. Appreciate it.
Anyone else? Amy, I have a question. With my USB today, as soon as I plugged it in, it says updates have been made to this USB workbook.
Okay.
Well,
I'm
I
not
mean-
a technology
I mean-
but we can,
No.
No, we're gonna have to get another one.
yes.
Okay.
If you have your USBs, I can load it on those. If not, we'll provide new ones.
Okay. Okay, so those of you that have already told what your figures would be, it's gonna have to change.
Yeah.
Okay. Becky, I understand you and Linda have already completed yours, so, and my other question has to do with, so this is coming from TASB, recommendation from TASB, with their salary department, I guess,
Yes, sir.
the
Mr.
zero
President?
to break down 0 to 2.
Yes, so what we presented last week is what Ms. Childers and I had discussed. And then TASB got a chance to look at it. For example, when we presented, we didn't have an increase to the base salary, to the entry-level salary. And we didn't differentiate between the 1 and 2 year teacher experience. So TASB made those recommendations based off of their experiences. And they didn't present to y'all because just of the way the state indicated the 2,500 and the 5,000. So there wasn't too much for TASB to do, but they still helped us with all the adjustments.
Okay. My understanding, again, Amy, is that from now on, they want our salary structure to be based on the years of experience. So this is a format that will be going forward for the rest of the future. This is, again, coming from Commissioner Mike Morath. He did a presentation, and it was based, again, from 0 to 3, and now it's 0 to 2. 0 to 3, and then 5 and above. So now we have 3 categories, 0 to 2, and then 0 to 3, and 0 to 5. Correct?
Well, Mr. President, in what Commissioner Rapp presented, yes. But what TASB's recommending, it doesn't go against what the commissioner said. It just differentiates between the 1 year and the 2 year. The rest of it is the same as what he recommended. So this really has a salary for teachers with 1 year experience, a salary for teachers with 2 years experience, a third salary with 3 to 4, a fourth salary with 5 or more. Again, it doesn't, what the commissioner or what the legislature approved doesn't preclude the board from giving a pay increase to people with 1 year, 2 year experience. It's just a manner that you choose to do it. We did it in a simpler manner because obviously we don't have all the computations that TASB has. So TASB just further refined what we had recommended before. But it's up to the board. We could have presented a model that said 0% increase for the 1 and 2 year experience, but we didn't think that that was what the board wanted to do.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to clarify what the thinking was, because again, the way he explained it was, when you have a brand new teacher, 0 years of experience, entry teacher, new entry teacher, how are you giving a raise to the ones that have 30 years experience and have gains on their STAR test and beyond? Compare that to one that is just starting. So that was the rationale for breaking it into different years of experience. Okay, all right, I just wanted to ask that question. So now we're gonna have to start again and plug in our numbers.
Yes, when I sent, yes, a new interactive workbook, yes.
Okay. Anyone else? Hearing none?
Okay.
And, I'm sorry, Mr. President, just, so you can plug in your numbers, and we adopt the budget a week from today. So this is right around the corner,
Do we have a budget meeting Wednesday?
Monday.
Monday.
No, we don't have any.
So there's nothing between tonight and, what's the thing that's on Wednesday, the CNI?
That's curriculum and instruction.
It's a curriculum committee meeting.
Okay. I
It's
thought
only
maybe it
3
was
of y'all.
mislabeled. Okay.
But we're available, Ms. Childress is available, and I'm available for any discussions between now and then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next tab is the personnel tab, and, excuse me, there are no changes to this at this time. We did have on the tab to add, whether or not to add the music and art positions is a choice. Also to bring the 3 librarians. For the purposes of this proposed budget, those are not selected. We also have the addition of the deputy superintendent, the 2024-25 district reorganization salary changes that have happened this year, the addition of the dean of instruction at Del Rio Middle School, and then the 2 elementary counselors that are funded partly with the OASIS grant. That grant is ending, so we will need to bring their full salaries back to the local budget, so this will be the cost for that. And for the purposes of this presentation, the deputy superintendent, the district reorganization, the dean of instruction at Del Rio Middle School, and the 2 OASIS grant counselors are selected, so it would be a cost of $658,161 to the district for those changes. The next tab we have is insurance, and again, at this time, I have no updates on this. And we are for purposes of the budget, we are estimating a 9.5% increase to our contribution for the 2025-26 year. That would begin in January 1st of 2026. Due to the timing of the funding between our change last year and when this would begin, we're still estimating that it would be a decrease to our general fund budget of $360,401. The next tab I have is our committed projects. Now this tab, if you change any selections on this tab, it will not update, it will not have any effect on our general fund budget. This would be the expenditures that we would be paying out of our fund balance. We have the Del Rio Middle School parking lot. We have the middle school turf project at the Garfield Middle School and San Felipe Memorial Middle School. And then we also have HVAC repairs at Garfield Middle School, Del Rio High School, Irene Cardwell Elementary, Ruben Chavita Elementary, and Lamar Elementary. We also have the stadium lights at the Del Rio High School Stadium. We have the repairs or replacement of the old gym floor at Del Rio High School. We have furniture replacement at San Felipe Memorial Middle School. We have asphalt replacement at the district warehouse. We have interior painting at Garfield Middle School and Lamar Elementary. We also have exterior painting at Buena Vista Elementary and Lamar Elementary. We also have a request for some service vehicles, and also on your credenza, I was asked to provide a listing of the 3 departments that are requesting possible new vehicles. The listing shows their current fleet and the repairs that have been done, the mileage and things like that. For the maintenance department, they're requesting to purchase 3 used vehicles. The police department are asking to purchase 2 units. And the warehouse is also asking to possibly purchase, depending on budget, 2 to 3 used units, either a van and a box truck with a lift, or possibly 2 box trucks with lifts. We also have fencing at Blended Academy and Buena Vista Elementary, roof repairs at Del Rio High School, the retention pond, Old Garfield Roadway at the Old Garfield, campus metal detectors throughout the district. And then in our technology, we have the HVAC for the server room, E-rate contribution if we decide to do any E-rate projects for this year, and then a district computer refresh. Again, currently, administration has selected the Del Rio Middle School parking lot, the middle school turf project at Garfield and San Felipe Memorial Middle School, the HVAC repairs at the different campuses, as well as the campus metal detectors to include in our committed budget.
Questions?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Rorfeld?
For the middle school parking lot, I know you said that selecting and not selecting doesn't have an overall effect on the proposed budget at the end there. But the 1.1 million, this is for the parking lot that's going to adjoin the county's sports complex, park, or whatever it is they're going to build behind the middle school.
Yes, sir.
Has the county given well, let me backtrack that. How long have we been carrying the 1.1 million? Is this going to be the second budget year, or the third that we've had it in committed funds for this?
Mr. Overfell, I believe this is going to be the second year. I did get an update from Judge Owens' staff where they will be releasing money. They have also completed the geotechnical study just recently, so they are ready to start moving dirt. And Commissioner Vasquez mentioned possibly having a groundbreaking ceremony within the next 30 days.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that's news to a lot of people then, so, okay, cool. The, where was it? Oh, it's not on. It's not. Oh, yeah. The metal detectors, that was at the high school or all the secondary campuses?
The metal detectors, Mr. Overfeld, are for 9th through 12th grade.
Okay.
It does not include the 3 middle schools.
Okay, and I'm sorry for all the questions because I was unable to attend the last budget session, so I'm just trying to get caught up. If we go and we put metal detectors in, can we get rid of clear backpacks?
I think we can definitely have that conversation. I don't want to respond because I haven't had a chance to visit with Ms. Salas and Mr. Davila and Ms. Paz. We can definitely have that conversation. The only reason we put metal detectors here is because the initial feedback that we got from the board members that have submitted the workbook indicated they wanted them. But yeah, that's a conversation we can have. We're also applying for a grant. I think that Ms. Hernandez completed the grant today with another member in Amy's department. So it is possible that we could get that grant funded, but we won't know. So in the meantime, we're putting it in the budget.
Okay. Since we're talking committed funds and stuff like that, with the new bill that we were all caught up with on Saturday concerning, if the governor signs it, and I'm sure he will, the banning of cell phones. Do we want to put something in here for that to consider cost of buying pouches and all of that if we go that route? Because after September 1, we're going to have to make that really big decision. So I'm just curious if we want to, between now and Monday, look at what would like the pouch system cost and different things like that, so we have a kind of an idea of what that's going to cost across the district to do.
Well, my recommendation, Mr. Overfeld, would be that I believe the governor is going to sign the bill, but my recommendation would be to continue to use the strategies that the high school and even Del Rio Middle School is using about collecting cell phones, and that we see how that progresses, because the pouch system is very expensive. Ms. Childers and I saw a presentation at the last legal conference we went to, and it was very expensive. To implement it at all our secondary classrooms would be upwards of $500,000, at least the one that we saw. So my recommendation would be that we first implement the strategies that the high school were using, and then 6 weeks, 6 weeks into it, we see, and I'm sure that through favorability in the budget, if we needed, if the recommendation from the teachers and administration was that we do that, we could fund it through favorability. But because this would be new to us, I would be leery to make the recommendation that we immediately jump into a big expense.
Just for my own benefit, what is, may I ask, what is the specific practice at the high school for cell phones, if Ms. Salas or somebody wants to expand?
Ms. Salas, can you come to the podium, ma'am?
I wasn't sure. I'm glad he asked.
And identify yourself for the record.
Good evening, Dr. Rios, Board President, members of the board. So cell phone policy at Del Rio High School this year. This was in collaboration with team leaders, staff, PD, all personnel involved. What we did is we required every classroom teacher, as students enter the classroom, it's either a box or a pouch where students leave their phone. So during instructional time, 90 minutes of instructional time, they're without their phones. Then they line up and they gather. Some leave it at their desk, depending on the teachers. Some of them have boxes, some of them have pouches. And then prior to the bell, they ensure that every student has their cell phone in hand, and they dismiss.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Questions? Don't leave the podium if you could.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
I myself have noticed at lunchtime they have their phones.
Yes. So our policy states for 9 through 12. It's a little different from 6 through 8. We have two policies, one 6 through 8, and then the other one is 9 through 12. They can use it during that non-instructional setting, which is lunchtime, passing periods. They can utilize their phones, but during instructional time, which is class time, they cannot.
So they take it up again twice after lunch?
They pick it up at the end of the class period. So first period starts at 8:15. At 9:45, when the bell rings, they retrieve their phone and they proceed to their next class with their phone in possession.
Dr. Rios?
And the policy or the law that the governor would sign does indicate during instructional time. So, and the pouches that they're promoting, the kids would also get them back after every period. So that's in keeping with the law, giving them back at the end of the class.
Okay.
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 Bishop, when you
Question.
say pouch, just like a holder or for the
This thing?
student or the phone?
So there's two pouches. One is the one that she's talking about, that Ms. Salas is talking about, where they just put it in a pouch.
Okay.
But the presentation and what the state is promoting, there are pouches, every student puts their phone in a pouch, and you can't open it until you unlock the pouch. And to unlock the pouch, you have to strike it against this object on your way out of the door, and it pops the pouch open, you get your phone, and you leave it there for the next group that's coming in. And it's really expensive. But at that point, it's locked, and you can't, you'll have the phone with you in your desk, it's in this pouch, but you can't open it because you have to strike it against this unblocker before you walk out.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Ms. Wood?
Ms. Salas, at this time, do we have any students that use their phones inappropriately during the time that they do have their phones?
We have, naturally, we haven't had as many, but unfortunately, students, at times have been in situations where consequences have been given. But we have seen a decrease because we educate students, not only the consequences from an administrative, but also from the law. So we go into classrooms at least twice a year, sometimes 3 times a year, with admin and our PD, our officers, and we have a PowerPoint for all our students, just letting them know the importance and etiquettes of social media and also the consequences, whether it's on or off campus.
Okay. And just for the record, Mr. Mesa, several of us had the privilege of attending and viewing some of the metal detectors at some of the high schools. And at those high schools, they did use the clear pouches, but they did not go through the metal detector with the pouch. Someone was standing on the right of the metal detector, and they got that particular bag. They saw what was in there. Person went through the metal detector and then retrieved their computer or their bag or whatever it was. And we saw it very successful.
It
But
is,
I know
and
that
so
you're
you
going,
can,
yeah, you're going to be talking to Dr. Rios on that, so.
you can adjust the sensitivity of the metal detectors. Naturally coming in, we're looking at weapons, but they're portals, so then we're looking at other devices that shouldn't be on our campuses.
Yes, ma'am.
That we
Thank
can
you.
make portable.
Appreciate it.
Anyone else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Linda, did you have a question?
Well, I have something else. It doesn't have anything to do with Ms. Salas.
Okay.
This has to do with the vehicles that we're looking at. I noticed in some of our vehicles, for example, starting with the police department, they have a couple of Ford Crown Victorias that are 2003. And some are in use, one is not in use. So if we look at replacing some of these vehicles, does that mean that these particular vehicles that are not in use right now, they're not even gonna be repaired, we're gonna get rid of them totally, is that what it is?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Amy, the only question I have for you is, this includes the increase in the safety allotment that we usually get?
Our budget funds do, yes.
They already
Yes,
have?
it's all included, yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions? We'll go on.
Okay, yes, sir. All right, so for the purposes of this presentation, we are projecting in revenue, a total projected revenue of $112,141,054. And again, that is based on the House Bill 2 allotments that have changed. And our expenditures, again, when we choose the 3% general pay increase, which is the $5,180,945. The increase in salaries of $658,161. The reduction in the district health insurance contribution of $360,401. And then with our campus, department, operational, state programs, student programs, our energy savings payment, our projected expenditures are $112,141.54, which leaves us with a projected excess or deficit of 0. It would be a balanced budget. We are estimated to have an excess fund balance at the end of this year of $6,072,072. And then we are also pending additional state aid based on the wind farm. And then we have already received from the appraisal district the reimbursement of attorney fees for the wind farm litigation. And we will also be receiving some supplemental taxes from the county.
So Amy, one question.
Yes, sir.
On the projected expenditures, that would be an increase from the previous amount, somewhere around 700 and something thousand dollars?
Yes, sir. So,
Okay. Anyone else? Mr. Almaraz?
From the interactive workbook that we have here, it shows the 25-26 projected total expenditures was $112,293,598. Here in the handout we have today, it's $112,141,054. So that's a $153-ish thousand difference. Why is that not listed in the excess deficit column? I'm not a math teacher either, nor a history or government teacher, so that was funny.
They left it.
That-
So due to the increase or the change, and now that TASB was able to get my, to give me my models, and based on the 3%, originally we had chosen the 2% model, now we're doing the 3%, and when I factor in the increase of taxes, TRS, things like that, and then I had to go in and reduce some of that increased it, so then I had to go in and reduce some of the workbooks. So it's just kind of netting out based on as we go through and learn different calculations, just the netting of it.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Almaraz, I thought it was 111 million on the last,
Yes, it was.
So here in this, it's 112, in the one we had last week, 112,293,500.
Yeah, 111 was around the last,
yeah,
The one that I
that's what I had, 111 million.
Right.
That's why I figured out like 700 and something thousand.
yes, again, right, due to the TRS and on behalf and all that increases due to the general pay increase.
112, 293, 598.
Is that on, I'm sorry, is that on the,
Interactive.
The interactive
but
work.
But that's on the expense side, or is that on the income side?
Total projected expenditures.
Okay, and could it be that you selected something else that increased that expense? Did you select any, did you hit yes on any personnel items or different pay salaries
Pay model
maybe?
did you do?
That's probably.
Because that
correct.
would change it. Mr. President, also, if I may, our goal is to do a balanced budget. So when y'all ask for items on the budget that increase the expenses, then Ms. Childers has to go into certain departments and figure out where we cut. So that means that maybe, I'm going to pick on athletics. So maybe athletics didn't spend 50,000 this year. So then she takes it from the athletic budget to balance it out, or fine arts, or CNI, or somebody, because we have to balance it out. So that's why we continue to produce a balanced budget. I just wanted to clarify that. Now, what was the expenses based on changes that you had made?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Okay. Okay, now we'll work on this. I guess board members just keep in mind that we have like 1 week left, so might have to come and sit down with Amy.
Yes,
So we-
yes, just as a
Balance
reminder,
budget.
yes, next Monday, we do have the public hearing, and we will, for the adoption of the compensation plan, as well as the general fund budget, the debt service budget, and the food service budget. And then on Monday, the 30th, we're scheduled for our final amendments for the 2024-25 end of year.
Okay. Questions for Amy? None? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Next item we have is item 8B, food service update. Amy Childress and Brenda Iglesias.
All right. Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. I have with me our Southwest Food Service Management Company, Ms. Brenda Iglesias, and our chef, Houston Lindsay, as well as Mr. Javier Romero, to give you an update on the 2024-25 year.
Good evening, Dr. Rios, President Mesa, and members of the board. We have successfully concluded another year here at San Felipe de Rios ISD. It has been an incredible year, and we'd like to share some highlights and accomplishments and improvements from our past. So this is the SFE team. Myself, Brenda Iglesias, General Manager, Laura, Nutritionist, and Chef Houston is our district chef. This year, we were fortunate to acquire new equipment for all the campuses, including pass-through warmers, pass-through coolers, smoke boxes, braising pans, dishwashers, and new serving lines. Thank you to the board for the approval for our food service. Now looks practically new. At the start of the year, we replaced all broken equipment and currently updating any equipment that is 15 years and older. For our meal services, we have breakfast, second chance breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And this is our second year as CEP, meaning that all the students were able to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner at no cost to them. And this is our after-school program.
So some of the events that I've done through this school year were roving chef events at different campuses. For example, at RBB STEM campus, we did Christmas tree crepes with the kids. Some other roving chefs that we did throughout the year were build your own pasta station and a build your own stir fry station. The roving chef events are meant to engage with the kids, and I send them home with a recipe that they can maybe make the dish with their families at home. Other events that I also do are farmers markets events. This year, we had farmers markets events at Ceniza Hills Elementary, Calderon Elementary, and again at RBB. Some of the items we did were blood oranges, starfruit, gooseberries, and tricolor carrots. And the farmers market events are meant to be a little educational presentation for the kids to maybe learn a little bit about fruits and vegetables and give them the opportunity to try some fruits and vegetables that maybe they've not had before.
This is the second year that we do the Flavor Fest. Flavor Fest, we invite a couple of our vendors to bring samples of food. We had it at the high school, and they brought us little boats and stuff. The kids went around and grabbed from each station, and then gave us their feedback if they would like it on the menu or if they didn't like it at all. These are a couple of our pictures. They did bring a big chicken, the Tyson, and it was a blow up. We had their students wear it, so they had fun in there. We also had our mascot as well, and we had kids from Darrow Middle that were in the suits. And then this one's our Superhero Lunch Day, our ladies. So the first Friday of May, it's a Super Lunch Hero Day. So we bought them capes and a mask and stuff. They were able to wear it while they were serving the kids. We also had the principals, we reached out to them to make some aprons. And then these are some other events that we've done, from custom omelets, grilled burgers, and pancake bars. And then this is actually the second time that we do this. Ceniza Hills invited us to their field trip. We were able to cook for the kids at the park. And then this is all our staff. And this is office staff. And any other questions?
Board members, questions? Linda?
I don't have a question. I just want to say, great job. You can see in the kids' faces how excited they are to be involved in the different activities that you all are presenting at the different campuses. So, great job. Thank you.
Again, thank you, Board, for all your support. We appreciate it. And I wanted to share a couple of little things that weren't on the slide. Just to let you know, as of the end of May, we've served over 1.9 million meals here in Del Rio. That's an excellent job. I guess I tracked most of that information for you guys, but I think that's phenomenal. We're doing fantastic. A lot of our kids are eating. There's room for improvement, most definitely, but breaking the 1.9 million meals served this year is phenomenal. We've brought in over $7.4 million worth of government reimbursement as well to help us continue supporting the program. Mr. Paul has done a phenomenal job ensuring all our equipment is running well. The ladies are happy, and every time when I go out in the field, I kind of just talk to them, and I just want to thank you, Board, because without you guys, we wouldn't be able to be as successful as we are now. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Just want to say a couple of things also. Mr. Romero, thank you for being here. It's obvious that there's so many different things happening at different campuses because we see sometimes posts that they have on various media, whether it's a district or whether it's something else, but they participate and it seems to introduce different varieties of food that they're not used to. And there's a lot of participation, and so with that, it creates an interest for the culinary programs that we have beyond the elementary schools. And so it's an excellent program. I think a lot has been done to improve the programs through the years. Anyone else? Dr. Reyes?
Yes, Mr. Mesa, members of the board, I too wanted to express our appreciation because of the way you've managed the program. You created a fund balance, and we were able to use that fund balance to buy the equipment and to replace the equipment. It's just been huge. I remember 3 years ago where it was constant, where we even had to set up a direct email for the ladies to express, I say ladies, there are some men that work in the program also, to express concerns with the equipment. But thanks to your efforts in creating our fund balance. We were able to do that, and what hasn't been purchased, I know that Mr. Paul has done a tremendous job in keeping that. So I appreciate it. It makes the operation a lot smoother. Your events are great, and we really enjoy the chef's meals. Your fish is phenomenal. Thank you.
Thank you. Next report we have is item 8C, Capital Projects Update. Sandra Hernandez.
Sorry, before she makes the presentation, Mr. Mesa, because Mr. Romero drove in from out of town, as soon as we're done with presentations and the items, can we bring the SFE contract up first so that he can hit the road early?
Sure. Any objection to that? No objections.
Can we just
Okay.
bring it now? Just get it done now?
It's up to you. We'll bring it now. What item is it, Amy?
13A.
13A?
Four more reports to go through.
Is that okay, Mr. President?
Sure. Okay, we're going to move an item up, 13A.
Sorry, Sandra.
Okay, item business and finance. Consideration to approve the renewal of the Food Service Management Company contract with Southwest Food Service Excellence LLC. Amy Childress.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. Our current contract with SFE for our food service management company, RFP 2206, was approved in June of 2022. It allows for 4 annual renewals, and this year we are on our 3rd renewal. And we are requesting to approve SFE to continue as our food service management contractor.
Any questions from board members? No questions? Recommendation?
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the renewal of the Food Service Management Company contract with Southwest Food Service Excellence LLC.
Further recommendation, is there a motion for, okay, motion made by Ms. Orfeld, seconded by Becky Chavez. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. Go back to reports. Item C, Capital Projects Update. Sandra Hernandez.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. This evening, I will be presenting to you the capital projects update, just to bring you back from where we were. We had a recommendation from the Citizens Committee. For months, the district officials have been meeting with our Citizens Committee, but also they have been evaluating the capital improvement projects across our district. And so the projects are critical to maintaining the facilities and also minimizing disruptions to instructional programs for the next 15 to 20 years. In collaboration with the Facilities Committee, as I mentioned earlier, the district has prioritized the most critical projects. And these are as follows. The first one is the Del Rio Freshman Center. And so if I can bring you to take a look, you do have a copy of this presentation at your desk. This calls for the construction of a new freshman center located on the existing campus. You'll see the area that is etched in red. That will be where the freshman center would be located. The area that you see shaded in blue would be the buildings that would be eventually demolished because that particular freshman center would replace those buildings. And you'll see the shaded area in green, that is where the current cafeteria is at, and that will become a multi-purpose facility. And the cafeteria will be located within the freshman center itself. Give you a moment to take a look at that.
Mr. President, if we could take any questions from the board while we're talking about the projects,
Okay,
that way it's fresher in our minds.
okay.
Okay.
Sandra, what is to the left? Seems like the parking lot, but there's some areas that are kind of reddish.
You see some shaded portable
Yeah.
buildings?
Yeah, Mr. Mesa,
Yes.
that is just, if we needed portable buildings, for example, if we were to go to this construction, immediately, the item that's shaded in dark blue, which is the administration building, that would be demolished because that's part of the construction site. So we would place 3 portable buildings there for administration if necessary. Obviously, we would look to see if they could be housed in one of the other buildings, but if not, we would be prepared to place 3 portable buildings there.
So it wouldn't take up any space from the tennis courts or anything like that?
No, sir.
No.
Okay.
Another clarification, Mr. Mesa, if I may. Initially, when the Citizens Committee reviewed the freshman campus, our initial recommendation was to work with a engineer to replace the AC systems and the electrical and the lighting. But just in reviewing the main wing there, which is the longest building towards the top of the page, we were already at $5 million without doing any additional remodeling. At that point, we quickly realized that it was not cost effective to go through that, and we switched to just replacing the freshman campus.
I would like to discourage going back to, again, portable buildings.
Yes, sir, that's just temporary during the construction for admin uses.
Okay. And you said it would be a 2-story building.
Yes, sir.
Questions for?
Did he say, excuse me, a two-story building?
Yes. Mr. Galindo?
So what would happen with all the open space from building B, C, and D?
So the freshman campus would finally have a front of the building. When we demolish that, that would become either a drop-off loop or visitor parking in the front. And then the side buildings over here, right above the green shaded buildings, that would amplify our bus drop-off area.
Is it small?
Yes, sir.
And based off the space that y'all have, I know these are walkways that are in that square, but the 2-story and then the size of the building that you're doing, y'all are pretty sure y'all could fit all 700 or 600 freshman students in that one center?
Yes, sir. And the architect is also going to take finer measurements. But what we did is we identified a 2-story freshman center in another district. We took the square footage and the number of students it served, so it would be very appropriate. That building would have a library and would have a cafeteria, but the rest of them would be classrooms. The gym would stay. And then, of course, a lot of the fine arts are done at the high school, like band and choir, so that would not change.
Thank you.
So, Dr. Rios, when are we going to be looking at the drawings?
Well, Mr. President, later on in the presentation, we are asking the board for approval to have ERO architects create the elevations, which are the drawings. And they know that if approved tonight, they would have to turn it around quickly within 30 days.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay.
Okay, so we're going to move on to the next project. The next project would be the Roberto Bobby Barrera brick and mortar campus, and we do have renderings for this particular campus. This is the construction of a brand-new brick and mortar that will be replacing the existing campus. And here you see a rendering of that particular campus.
questions for Sandra? Sandra, we know for sure that there's no funding from Air Force.
I would like to add that at this point, I am applying. We are working on a Department of Defense grant that is due in July. And so the Department of Defense grant would be for the brick and mortar campus as well. I will tell you that it is a very slim chance, but we are going to give it a try.
Okay. Ms. Orville?
Would this sit on the existing site where the campus is now, or are we gonna find somewhere else on base to do this?
No, sir. The base is granted as a multi-year lease at a different site. This drawing that the architects did was based on that new site.
Is it relatively close to where we are, or in that kind of residential area?
Yes, sir. It's still across the street from the residential area.
Okay.
It's just it's on the other side of it.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
I think some of us went a tour and when we were invited to go on,
I think we've seen it.
I don't know how many attended, but
did.
we saw the site. They took us on a bus and it looks real close to the housing. Okay.
Okay. We're going to move on to the third project. The third project is a San Felipe Memorial Middle School renovation project. This will be for the construction of the new tech center and at San Felipe, and also for a gym expansion. If you take a look at this particular drawing, you'll see in red, this is the area where the proposed tech center will be located. And then next to it, in between the gym and this center, would be a proposed gym addition, which would be a practice gym.
Is that the vacant lot at this time?
Mr. Massa, members of the board, yes, the blue or purple area, blue area that's shaded there, that is the vacant lot that we have not purchased yet, and we continue to work with the board's attorneys and the realtor. The idea is that that practice gym would just be a practice gym, no bleachers, and it would be attached to the existing dressing rooms. So that building between where it says gym, that looks like it has a flat roof, those are the dressing rooms. So the practice gym would be attached to the dressing rooms. And then the red area we already own.
Okay.
I thought we closed on that property.
No, sir, the board approved offer price that the seller accepted, except that there's multiple errors and they keep working on getting everybody to sign off.
Oh.
Anyone else? Okay.
All right, and we're going to move to the fourth project. The fourth project is the renovation project at Buena Vista Elementary. This will consist of building renovations of the classrooms and the administrative offices, as well as a cafeteria expansion. And if you take a look at this particular drawing, the cafeteria is the area that is shaded in blue. The expansion would be that red area, and the idea is that the size of this cafeteria would mean the approximate same size as the cafeteria at Ceniza Hills cafeteria.
Okay. So there's still plenty of area for outside activity there?
Yes.
We're not limiting.
No, sir. It is encroaching a little bit on the playground activity, but there's still plenty of playground left on the area that they use for recess after lunch there.
Okay. Anyone else? Good, okay.
Okay. So the next step here is then the board's consideration to order a bond election. According to the schedule from our state, the last day to order an election on a measure for the November 4th uniform election date is going to be August 16th. So knowing this date, I'm going to show you these two next dates to think about. August regular board meeting is Monday, August the 18th. So that's 2 days after the uniform measure, which is the August 16th date. If we think about July regular board meeting is Monday, July 28th. Now this may be a bit early, so you may decide that you may want to consider opting for calling a special called election. So in this case, that's something to consider. I will tell you that the district has to certify property tax values by July 25th. And in this consideration also, the more that we delay on ordering the election, the more time the district will have on determining that exact amount of the proposed bond referendum. So you have a window of time. Again, I'm going back to the previous slide. The last day to order that election is August the 16th. In August, our regular board meeting is scheduled on that third Monday, which is August 18th, which would mean it would be too far over. Then we have July 28th, which is our next scheduled board meeting. However, that may be too soon, and the board might want to consider then calling a special meeting in order to call an order of election. Again, the property tax values must be certified by July the 25th. And this might give you an idea as to the window of time that you have. I know it's fast approaching, summer goes by very quickly, but this would be something for the board to think about next.
Dr. Rios?
Just to add another piece of information, the reason that we would want to go beyond July 25th is because, as we now know, the homestead exemption has increased. So it's critical that we have certified values and take into account the homestead exemption to know the amount of bond that we can propose without raising taxes. Because what we've talked about, the team of 8, is to have a bond election with no new taxes. But we really need to know the certified property values and see what effect the higher homestead exemption has on that. So with that in mind, we would ask the board to consider a special called board meeting just prior to August 16th, if not on August 16th.
So the 12th would be a Monday prior to the 18th. August the 12th would be a Monday,
August 11th, sir.
11th?
Yes, sir. Anytime that week would be great.
I think it would be best if we wait until after the certification of property values. So that, let's kind of have a tentative date of August the 12th, 11th?
11th.
Monday,
Monday.
August the 11th,
Okay.
Okay.
just tentative. Anyone else want to? Yeah, because it's cutting it too close if we say July 25th. We don't have the certified values. Okay, so let's have a tentative date of August 11th, just be thinking about that. And again, just reassurance that it would not raise any taxes.
Yes, sir.
and I will update the board the closer we get so that we can prepare for the announcement of a special call so that we can call an order of election.
Okay. Any other questions for Sandra? Okay,
Thank you so much.
thank you. Okay, next report that we have is item 8D, annual presentation of the Texas College and Career Readiness School Models, CCRSM, and Jane Villarreal.
Good evening, Dr. Rios, Board President Mesa, members of the board. Tonight, I'll be presenting our annual report for the 24-25 school year on our Texas College and Career Readiness School Models, which for us are the early college high school, along with the P-TECH program at the Del Rio High School. Our target population for early college and for P-TECH are those students that are at risk and economically disadvantaged. Specifically for early college, we look for students that are first-generation college students, and for P-TECH, those that are pursuing the education field. Any student that is enrolled with our district beginning 8th grade, entering 9th grade, the following year is eligible to apply for either program. We do begin stakeholder engagement with distribution of information at open houses there at the middle school. Recruiting efforts actually begin in January. In January is when they begin speaking to the students. For early college, the lottery is held in February. Our CCR and SM blueprint models are for, again, our early college, high school, and then the P-TECH program at the high school. We do have open enrollment for any student. Of course, it's targeted for students less likely to attend college, or any student who wishes to accelerate the completion of high school or to combine high school and college level courses while participating in rigorous and accelerated instruction. Both programs include a crosswalk in partnership with Southwest Texas College to align and make sure that high school and college courses during their 9th grade through 12th grade enables them to earn an associate's degree or 60 hours towards a bachelor's degree. P-TECH also offers or gives the opportunity to students to participate or engage in work-based learning by visiting elementary, Cardwell, or middle schools. Early college high school offers an associate's of arts in general studies, and P-TECH offers an associate of arts in teaching early college, EC through 6. Our programs are measured through outcomes-based measures, and those indicators, data indicators, are related to access, achievement, and attainment. Access, to ensure access, we start working with PEAMS late September or in September and throughout October to ensure we're meeting those economically disadvantaged and at-risk students. Also, we work in collaboration with Pamela Reese. She is the CCRSM leadership coach. So our CCRSM leaders in P-TECH and early college get to work with coach throughout the year. They do have sessions 3 times throughout the year, and of course, they have an opportunity to attend the annual conference. The areas for the indicators are those 3 areas. Again, it's access, achievement, and attainment. Access is really towards the student representation in the programs. So again, making sure we have our our percentages of at-risk and economically disadvantaged students. Achievement is more through high school-based opportunities, so EOC exams, college readiness, graduation rates, so on and so forth. And then the last one, which is our attainment, is looking at the attainment of opportunities post-secondary, such as dual credit, associate's degree, industry-based certificates, level 1 or 2 certificates. In this slide, you'll see the enrollment, total enrollment for each program. So in this particular slide, it's for Del Rio Early College High School. They have a projected enrollment of 485 students for next year, grades 9 through 12. And you'll see the previous years there. 2025, they had 470 students, 2024, 466, and so on. Our P-TECH program at the high school, this next year we have a projected total enrollment of 47 students for the incoming year. Last year we had 30 students. The year before was our first year with 14 students. And then here you'll see them by cohorts, the same data broken down by cohort. So this last year, our 12th grade cohort number 7 graduated 112 students, or they were in cohort number 7. Cohort 8 had 13 students. 10th graders, there was 121, and 9th graders, there was 124 for early college. P-TECH had an enrollment of, this past year, 9th graders, 14 of them were in the program, and then 10th graders from our initial cohort, there was 16 students. And this last slide shows graduates and those that have earned an associate's degree for early college high school. This last year, we had 110 high school graduates. 81 of them graduated with an associate's degree. And you'll see the previous years there as well. And that is my presentation. Any questions?
Board members? Jane,
Yes, sir.
I'm glad to see the numbers going up in regard to enrollment. How are we able to do that? Like 485, we had 470 last year.
And again, with the
More interest?
stakeholder engagements that they have at Open House, we'll continue to try and build both programs that way, getting the information out, and of course, any postings that we put through social media.
Okay, and how are we letting the parents know? Because in February is when you have the lottery.
We'll ask Mr. Barrera, that's okay, Mr. Mesa,
Okay.
since he handled it last.
Sure.
And it's not that I'm skipping Rocio, it's just that he just did it, okay? You can run up here if you want.
Good evening. Good evening, Dr. Rios, President Mesa, members of the board. So to address your first question, Mr. Mesa, we've, to retain enrollment, we've engaged the families more. We've made the culture that to where the students don't want to drop out of the program. It's a ongoing process, obviously. It's something that takes a lot of effort from the staff, the faculty, and the parents as well. And so we've managed to increase the retention rate of that of our population throughout the years. We do have some attrition, and they'll drop here and there for different reasons. But we've focused on that over the last couple of years, and it's worked. As far as your second question, How do we get the information out to the parents? We do send emails out in collaboration with our middle school campus. We have gone to the campus when they have parent meetings before January. And then we have a big push at the beginning of January to have parent meetings in English and Spanish. We have multiple parent meetings. We've even gone as far as having meetings via Zoom for those that have trouble getting to the campuses. We always, or since we started doing the Saturday parent open house, the district open house, we also have a session there where we present to the parents.
Okay, thank you very much. It's going excellent. I mean, I hear so many good things happening with early college high school, and it does a world of good for not only the student to be able to gather with students that have similar goals in pursuing a degree, but saving the families lots of money, especially for those that are first-generation college students.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else have a question? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next report that we have is item 8E, Facilities and Construction Update. Mr. Chapa.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, members of the board. Tonight's presentation will provide updates for the Cody Wardlaw Gymnasium renovation, the HVAC equipment replacement, as well as the San Felipe Memorial Middle School and Cody Wardlaw gym fence. Progress has been shown. Plumbing contractor has been completed the work. The city of Del Rio is in the process of connecting our wastewater system, and they started today. I'm hoping they'll be done by tomorrow. The electrical and HVAC continues to progress. Two 25-ton units have been installed on the east side of the building facing SPC, and the supply air ductwork as well as the return air ductwork has been installed on all three units. The windows have been installed on the front entrance of the building, facing the north. The upper windows have been installed there. The contractor is scheduled to install the south upper windows this week, as well as the exterior back doors to the gym. The painters have placed the first coat of the gym area, and they're supposed to be back tomorrow to continue to the second coat. Here are some pictures indicating the supply air and return air and the units on the east side of the building. And pictures of the interior showing the progress on the painting. The fencing company is scheduled to come in next Monday. They've been working at their shop in Seymour, Texas, welding panels, 10-foot panels. So they're scheduled to be at San Felipe Memorial Middle School next week to start installing posts and erecting the fence. I'll continue with the work orders. For the maintenance department, the past 90 days, there was a total 983 work orders created. 891 were closed, for a percentage rate of 91%. The 0 to 15 days, 138 were created, 115 were closed, 83%. 16 to 30 days, 166 were created, 153 were closed, 92%. 31 to 60 days, 334 work orders were created, 299 were completed, 90%. 61 to 90 days, 345 work orders were created, 324 were closed, 94%. Right. Technology, previous 90 days, 3,215 work orders were created, 2,941 were closed, 91%. 0 to 15 days, 390 were created, 315 were closed, 81%. 16 to 30 days, 541 were created, 513 were closed, 95%. 31 to 60 days, 938 were created, 896 were closed, 96%. And 60 to 90 days, 1,346 were created, 1,217 were closed, 90%. Transportation, 90 in the previous 90 days, 260 work orders were created, 249 were closed, 96%. On 0 to 15 days, 28 were created, 25 were closed, 89%. 16 to 30 days, 47 were created, 42 were closed, 89%. 31 to 60 days, 60 were created, 57 were closed, 95%. And 61 to 90 days, 125 were created, and all 125 were closed, 100%. Any questions?
Yes. Mr. Alindo?
Just because it is listed on here, do you have an update on the HVAC equipment replacement?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry I skipped that. The Schneider Electric has been working on preparing the plan work construction documents for the 3 locations.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Chubb, I have a question for you. On the consent agenda, we have an item for the restroom partitions.
Yes, sir.
Why are they so expensive? It's like something like $32,000, almost $33,000.
It's specialized materials that rubber or plastic, hard plastic, and it also includes the installation and all the necessary hardware to attach to the tile and the flooring.
So, Dr. Reyes, do you want to add something?
Yes, Mr. Mesa. In the past, we've bought the cheaper partitions, but we immediately have to start replacing them. And ever since we made the renovations at Del Rio High School, when we renovated all the freshmen, all of those are still up and they're intact. So it is more expensive than what we had bought prior to the renovation of all the restrooms at the high school, but the investment is definitely worth it. We could buy the cheaper ones, but they just have to be constantly replaced.
So what is the unit cost for a single one?
I'm not too sure about the single cost, but I know there's approximately 18 partitions that are being, for the restrooms, for the toilets, and also 4 urinals partitions. So you're looking at about 32,000, so you're looking at about approximately $1,400 or so.
For each one?
Materials and installation.
Okay. I just wonder, because it's like $33,000 for restroom partitions. Okay. All right. Now for the questions, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Next item we have is attendance and discipline report, item 8F. Any questions for Ms. Sandate? I just wanted to see later on if we could get the final average daily attendance for our district. I know we had the last 6 weeks, but I don't have the annual ADA.
Mr. Mesa, I asked Amy Childress to look it up, and she did send me a text message with the ADA for the 23-24 school year. The ADA was 8,708. Of course, that's not our enrollment, that's just our funding mechanism. And the estimated ADA for the 24-25 school year is 8,560. It's about 140 less.
You know what percentage?
No, sir, I'd have to calculate. That would be harder.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So no questions for Ms. Sandate? Okay. We're good. Next item we have is the consent agenda. Again, one action will take care of all items on the consent agenda. If there's some minutes of some meetings that we had, and also the donations. The donations will be already listed on social media.
Mr. Luna took care of that already.
Okay. I want to thank all the people that donated, whether it's individuals or organizations. As always, we appreciate the assistance that we are given by the different vendors and individuals. Are there any items that need to be pulled out of the consent agenda? Any questions on any particular purchase or any corrections to minutes of the meetings? Hearing none? Okay, then I will call for a motion to approve the consent agenda. Motion made by Mr. Galindo, seconded by Amy Haynes. All those in favor? Motion carries. Unanimous. Consent agenda has been approved. We go on to administration. Item 10A, consideration to approve the application to TEA for the optional flexible school day program on behalf of Blended Academy. Nora Sandate.
Good evening again, Dr. Rios, President Mesa, and members of the board. Based on the presentation earlier for the OFSDP program located at Blended Academy, it is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve and authorize the board president and superintendent to sign the proposed OFSDP application to TEA on behalf of Blended Academy.
Any questions? Recommendation? You've already read.
I read it.
So moved.
Okay. A motion by Mr. Orfeld, seconded by Mrs. Webb. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Next item we have is 10B, Senate Bill 401, UIL participation update. Sandra Hernandez and Frenchie McCray. Sandra Hernandez.
Good evening once again, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. This evening, I'm going to be providing you with some information on Senate Bill 401, which is the UIL participation update. And the overview of those key changes from this particular legislative session, Senate Bill 401, was passed into law related to homeschool students participating in UIL activities. So this law creates two main changes to the current status of homeschool participation in UIL activities. So what you see here on this particular slide, you'll see the 24-25 school year, and then you'll see the upcoming regulation. So last year, school districts could opt in to allow homeschool participation. If the homeschool students, they could participate in UIL activities in the schools that allowed this eligibility. For the 25-26 school year, the school districts shall provide, that means we're required to provide homeschool participation unless the school board votes to opt out of allowing homeschool participation. That's a big key difference right there. Homeschool students, they can participate, they may participate in UIL activities at the school closest to the student's residential address that does allow homeschool participation if the school in which they are zoned to opts out. So in this particular case, what we're seeing is that the school district is required to have homeschool students participate in UIL activities unless our board decides to opt out. There is a date there, if we decide to opt out, not later than the date specified under the league rule. This means that the school is required to allow homeschool participation unless our school board is adopting to opt out of allowing it. That date is September the 1st. So if our school district decides we do not want to allow homeschool participation, that is the date in which we would, the board would have to make a decision at a public meeting. After that, if we allow it this year and we decide, the school district decides next year not to, know that the date in subsequent years, the date will be August the 1st of every year, that the school district must vote or decide to allow opting homeschool students to participate. So I will say that in speaking with our director, our athletics director, we have allowed the participation of homeschool students over the past couple of years, so it's not new. In fact, 2 years ago, we've had one student participate in swimming, two recently also in swimming, and then this past year, we had a homeschool student participate in golf. So it is Coach McCrae, our athletic director, has, we've already allowed the participation, and recommends that we continue as we have in the past. And it is up for discussion, so it's not a voting item today, but it is up for the board to discuss. If you have any questions, we do have Mr. McCrae here.
Sandra, is there a policy required for us to alter or change in any way?
Not to alter or change, because the policy that it's written this year is that they shall participate.
Okay. Okay. Any questions for Sandra? I know I've been approached, especially for swimming. Yes, Mr. Orfeld?
Okay. How does, and this may be for Coach McCrae, but how for those individuals who are homeschooled and were participating in these different items or these different sports, how does UIL eligibility come into play in the sense of pass-fail?
Good evening, Dr. Rios, President Mesa, school board members. In order to answer your question, we developed a handbook that goes side by side with our current student athletic handbook. I reached out to the former UIL state director, Ms. Dr. Elsa, and she kind of helped me and guided me on what we can and can't do. And basically, they have to follow the same guidelines. They have to turn in grades. It's still no pass, no play. For us, on our side, we just had to make sure that they did not do any extra club sports while participating with us. There were certain guidelines that we had to outline to make sure that it happens. And what we did the last few years is we allowed them to participate on the sub-varsity level because we did not have to turn them into a varsity eligibility sheet, which goes to our district executive committee. So they did not have to approve it. And with this current bill, it's saying that if we do not opt out, then we have to turn them in. If they make a varsity team, we would have to go through more procedures to make sure that they are eligible and that they are homeschooled with a credited homeschool community.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
I just had one
Mr.
quick question.
Morales?
As far as homeschool kids, how many do we have participate in UIL that are homeschooled?
So in 21-22, we had one swimmer, sub-varsity. In 22-23, we had two swimmers, one of which, well, the two swimmers were homeschooled, but their older sibling was actually enrolled in our district and was competing on the varsity level. And then last year, we had one golfer who did not make JV or varsity team, but did participate in practice. So a total of 4.
Small amount.
Yes, very small amount.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, so this is for discussion. It'll come up for a vote later on.
I'm sorry, Mr. President, it will only come up to a vote if the board requested for it to come up to a vote. Otherwise, they automatically are allowed to participate.
Okay. I think everyone's fine with that. Small number. Okay.
Great, thank you very much.
Okay, we're down to item 13, business and finance. Item B, consideration to approve the submission of the applications for the 2025-2026 ESSA Consolidated Federal E-Grant application for federal funding to the appropriate headquarter authority as presented. Amy Childress.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. Before you is our annual submission for our ESSA Consolidated Federal E-Grant application. The total planning amount that we're submitting for this year is $4,891,453.
No, sir.
Questions for Amy? No? Want to read the recommendation, please?
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the submittal of the ESSA Consolidated Federal E-Grant application in the amount of $4,891,453 for the funding of federal programs to the appropriated headquarter authority for the 2025-2026 year as presented.
Heard the recommendation. Is there a motion for approval? Motion made by Mrs. Webb, seconded by Mr. Galindo. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item is 14, Human Resources. 14A, discussion possible action to approve employee job descriptions and evaluation forms. Amy Childress.
Good evening once again. Before you this evening, we are presenting a job description and evaluation form for the position of a Dean of Instruction New Tech at San Felipe Memorial Middle School.
Find that in your packet. Any questions for Amy? Mrs. Webb, did you have any questions for Amy? No? Okay, no questions, recommendation?
It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the employee job descriptions and evaluation forms as discussed.
Further recommendation from administration, motion made by Mrs. Webb, seconded by Mr. Almaraz. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Okay, the time is 7:58 PM. We're going to go into closed session pursuant to policy 551.074 and 551.071. If any action will be required, it will be taken upon reconvening to open session. We're now in closed session. Okay, the time is 8:46 PM. We're reconvening into open session. No action was taken in executive. We're down to item 18A, consideration to approve the personnel report to include the following: new hires, district vacancies, retirements, resignations. Amy Childress.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve the retirements, resignations, and vacancies as discussed in closed session and the following new personnel: Christy Hairston, first grade STEM teacher at Dr. Fermin Calderon Elementary; Marla Sanchez, third grade teacher, Sinisa Hills Elementary; Victoria Riggins, kindergarten teacher at Sinisa Hills Elementary. Catherine Gore, ELA teacher, New Tech at San Felipe Memorial Middle School. Alyssa Brown, assistant band director at Del Rio High School. And Andres Vasquez, assistant band director at Del Rio High School.
You've heard the recommendation from administration. Is there a motion? Motion made by Linda Webb, seconded by Mr. Galindo. All those in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 18B, consideration to approve the position of vice principal at Del Rio Freshman School. Amy Childress.
It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve Jesse Davila for vice principal at Del Rio Freshman School.
Heard the recommendation. Motion made by Amy Haynes, seconded by Michelle Maraz. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Item 18C, consideration to approve the position of assistant principal at Garfield Middle School. Amy Childress.
It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve Amy Rodriguez as assistant principal at Garfield Middle School.
Heard the recommendation. There's a motion by Mr. Galindo, seconded by Amy Haynes. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Item 18D, consideration to approve the position of licensed physical therapy assistant in the special education department. Amy Childress.
It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve John Sagase for licensed physical therapy assistant at the special education department.
For the recommendation, is there a motion for approval? Motion by Mrs. Webb. Is there a second to the motion? Amy Haynes, second motion. All those in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you.
unanimously. There being no other items on the agenda, is there a motion to adjourn? Motion by Ms. Shorfeld, seconded by Michelle Maraz. All those in favor? Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you and good night, everyone.